Hi guys, today I'm talking about 5 tips for blogging for your business. So 5 simple tips to get you started on blogging and getting a consistent blog strategy together. So number 1 is literally to make it consistent. It's so important that when you show up to blogging, you keep it consistent. You can blog once a month, twice a month, once a week, once a day, whatever. The most important thing is that you commit to it. So if you do once every 2 or 3 days, but then you can't keep it up, you start to lose that momentum. And what I see is so many people go in full on with their blog and then they sort of lose the momentum and then it sort of dwindles and then they don't update it for 6 months in one go. So it's really important to commit to that time scale, and it's okay. If you can only do once a month, that's fine, as long as you're keeping it consistent. So number 1 is keep it regular, keep it consistent, maintain that frequency. Number 2 is have a plan. This will help you keep it consistent. Have a plan of what you want to talk about. Now, number 1 reason for this is obviously to keep it consistent, but number 2 is so you don't go off-piste. It's really easy to write any old thing in a knee-jerk reaction because you've got to get content out. So I think that it's really important to have that plan, to be able to say, this is what I'm working on, this is what I'm talking about when, and make it strategic. If you've got a launch coming up in 2 or 3 months' time, you need to plan backwards to make sure you've got the content before you launch, so that you're starting to engage the audience with these topics before you launch. If you've got a special event coming up, you need to prepare for that. If you are a business that really Christmas is important for you, you need to start planning your Christmas promotions and working backwards, rather than just going, oh, I need to write something, I need to get something out. Be really strategic, make a plan. Even if you're just doing 1 blog post a month, that's 12 blog posts a year, plan them out. And even more so, the less content you've got to play with, the more you need to be really strategic about what it is that you're putting out there, what it is that you're saying in that space when you've only got limited time available. So that's number 2, make a plan. Number 3 is to keep it snackable. Make the content really snackable. So by that I mean you need to be able to look at it and you need to be able to scan it and take in the content really quickly. What you don't want is big paragraphs of text that are really heavy and really hard to read, because people will just leave the page. It needs to be visually appealing, and that means lots of white space, paragraph breaks, images, titles, subtitles, bullet points, whatever it is to draw the eye and make me be able to scan it quickly and read it on the go. I'm not going to read it if it's just a big chunk of text. I'm going to need it to be a bit more visually attractive and appealing than that. Word count wise, a blog post can be as long as you like, but I always say if you can get it between 400 words and 1,000 words, that's about the happy space. So, but you know what, don't get hung up on word count, and also don't get hung up on keywords. On a side note, don't get hung up on your keywords, because yes, it's good to have keywords in your blog, but don't make your blog post all about keywords. It will be written for a robot and not a person. And it's so important that you're connecting. Your blog posts are not just about getting people in. They're about connecting with them and communicating with them. And if you start using all these terms, you might get them in, but you might as well have holes in your bucket because they'll fall straight out. So make sure that you don't go too happy on the SEO terms. And then number 4 would be to consider evergreen content. So to try to have evergreen content or sticky content, which literally means content that is relevant down the line. So if I do top 10 bridal trends for the industry, that is going to run out very quickly, that blog, because the bridal trends this year will run out either this year or next year. I've probably got a 12-month lifespan of that blog. Which is fine to have a trends blog because you'll probably get a lot of interest in it. However, make sure you mix and match blogs like that with evergreen sticky content, which means that they'll stick around. So blog posts that I wrote 7 years ago, 6 years ago, are still some of my most viewed blog content now. That's a good investment. Investing in a blog post that I know will be consistently performing for me 5 years down the line. So it's got to be about a topic that is of interest. People are always going to ask me, how do I write an about page? That is never going to run out. That is going to be evergreen, sticky content forever. What are your sticky topics? And the last one, number 5, is to analyze and look at the performance of your blogs. So many people don't do this. They write it, post it, leave it. Do come back to it. Do look at your Google Analytics. Do look at your insights. See not only what got the most readers, which a lot of people are good at knowing, but also what got the best readers. What is your dwell time? How long were your readers spending reading your blog post? The longer they spend on your blog post, the better your readers are finding the content. So it's not just about how many people viewed it, it's about how long they read it for. It's no use having hundreds and hundreds of people reading a blog post for 10 seconds. You're better off having 25 people read it for 6 minutes. So look at what blog posts people are reacting to, what they're not reacting to, what they're spending time on, what they're not spending time on, where they're coming from. Where's drawing in your readers, so you know which platforms is getting in your readers. Is it Google? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Etc. And then work out what content's the most popular so you can adjust your plan moving forwards for the next quarter. Those are my tips on creating blog posts that work. See you on the next video.